Hello students. In the last class, I explained about loss of biodiversity, and today I am going to explain about relationship between species diversity and ecosystem. Let us take one ecosystem and you are calling that ecosystem is more stable. That means that ecosystem stability it is determined by the number of species present in it. Again, I repeat, if number of species are more and that ecosystem is more stable and the ecosystem is less stable means the ecosystem has less number of species. That clearly shows the richness of an ecosystem depends upon the number of species that are present in that. Ecosystem with more species is resistant to occasional disturbances. It may be natural or it may be man-made and resistant to invasion by alien or exotic species. There is one scientist, his name is David Tillman. This David Tillman found the plots with more species showing less year-to-year variation in total biomass and increased diversity contribute to high productivity. I will tell these statements of David Tillman by taking a very simple example. Then you will clearly understand. Let us take two persons. One person is having only 10 rupees. The other person is having 1 lakh rupees. Now, this person who is having 5 rupees lost 5 rupees. I'm really sorry, I made a mistake. The person who is having 10 rupees, he lost 5 rupees. And the other person who is having 1 lakh, he also lost 5 rupees. Now, you people, you tell me who are in great loss. The person who lost 5 rupees from his 10 rupees is in great loss. Same example as it is, you copy paste for an ecosystem. One ecosystem is there having only 10 species. The other ecosystem is there, it is having 1 lakh species. Now some natural calamity, it may be some cyclone or some earthquake or any other some natural calamity it has come. Due to that, the ecosystem of 5 species are lost. Now the ecosystem which is having 10 species, it lost 5 species. Matlab it is a great loss for that ecosystem and it greatly affect the stability of that particular ecosystem. And obviously due to the loss of this particular number of species, the other dependent species also find great threat of extinction. So by this example, it is clearly showing the ecosystem with less number of species is less stable. Now let us take another example. The person who is having 1 lakh rupees, that means the ecosystem with 1 lakh species, it is having it got the loss of only 5 species and remaining that many species are still left. So the organisms do not get any effect, because if the organism it need to eat on something and it is obviously having the other alternative to eat, that's why it go for the another option. So organism do not stick to only one option. So one organism is lost, okay, this organism is lost, now I will go for this option. That option will be there in the ecosystem with great biodiversity. So again I am telling, I am proving that the ecosystem with more species it will be more stable. Hope you understood David Tillman's statement. Hope you understood, students. Now let us take one more statement. Actually it's not statement, it's hypothesis to explain the same what I call statement. For this statement I gave, the first one is David Tillman's statement. Now second, Revit, I'm sorry, yes, Revit-Popper's hypothesis. Revit-Popper hypothesis was given by Paul Enrich. Actually, Paul Enrich is a Stanford ecologist. Now, let us go for his statement, and after statement, I'll clearly explain what his statement is. Okay, he explained how a species extinction anywhere on this planet affect the human race. Now, this is a statement he has given. Now, he justified this statement by taking such a very simple example. He compared this example with he explained this example by taking one aeroplane as example. He compared aeroplane with an ecosystem. Now this aeroplane is an ecosystem. This aeroplane is consisting of so many parts. Am I correct or not? Some wings will be there, some cabin will be there, some seats will be there, and also some other parts also will be there. Now like that, the ecosystem, it is also having so many species. Now some passengers entered into this aeroplane and started taking one part after one part. Now what happens, tell me? Dheere dheere this flight, because it is losing some parts, it slowly becomes weak, and at a point it comes, this flight even it gets collapsed. Am I correct or not? Same example, now you convert it in terms of ecosystem. One species after another species, and one species after another, these all species are going down. Then what happens? The stability of that ecosystem also lost, and at a point the ecosystem will collapse. That same point you need to understand. Okay, aeroplane compare with ecosystem. Now this all parts of this aeroplane with a number of species, taking away or removing all these parts and taking home, that is a loss of species. So by comparing this all parameters with ecosystem parameters, you will be able to understand the Revit purpose hypothesis given by Paul Enrich. Hope you got this David Tillmans and also Revit purpose hypothesis. Now let us take the next topic, that is types of extension of species. There are three ways of extensions. The first one is natural extension, the second one is mass extension, and the third one is anthropogenic. Anthropogenic basically means man-made extension. Now let us go for the first one. Natural extension means the extension which takes place due to environmental conditions, changes in the environmental conditions, then that is called as natural extension. And this natural extension is by default extension. See, organisms, they need to change according to the changes that takes place in the environmental conditions. If that organism can change according to the changes in the environmental conditions, they can survive. If they can't change, they have to die. Let us take a very simple example. I am there. I don't know anything about technology. To be frank, I don't have any Facebooks. I don't have any other. I don't know what is the meaning of this Twitter and some other things are there. Now, at some disastrous condition has come in the name of Corona. Now, I need to teach you. Otherwise, it becomes a lot gap. So much of gap, around 5 6 months of gap, and it's a great gap. In this great gap, none of the biology, no one are teaching. Matlab, you lose complete interest on the biology only. That's why slowly somehow I adjusted towards this online system. Somehow by going somewhere, by going to someone, I learned this online classes. And after learning also, you can compare na, first 5 6 lectures, they're not of good quality, but now I'm sending you like a decent quality images, this lectures. That means somehow I adjusted towards the changes and I'm surviving. Otherwise I can't be able to teach, and I will be thrown out of this particular profession. That clearly shows, this example is clearly showing, the organism should have the ability to adapt towards the changes in the environmental conditions. If it is having the capacity to change according to the change in the environment, yes, it survive. No, it is not changing according to the changes in the environmental conditions, then obviously it results in the loss of that particular species. But one thing you need to understand, it is a natural extension. In the name itself, it is by default, by nature only it is take place. So it is very slow in its rate, and it is also called as a background extension. Hope you understood. Now let us take the second one, mass extension. Mass extension, it is due to the natural calamities. Let us take some examples like earthquake. All of a sudden one big earthquake has come. So due to that earthquake, the organisms which can somehow survive, somehow they can be able to handle that temporary existing situation, and he survive, and then he can be able to continue his life. They only will survive, and the organisms which cannot be able to survive, which cannot be able to handle these particular temporary disturbances, they all will lose. Now the next one is anthropogenic extension. Extension, it is due to human indiscriminate activities, is called as anthropogenic extension. That means man-made extension. Now the next topic is during long period since the origin of diversification of life on earth, there are 5 episodes of mass extinction. That means till now 5 episodes of mass extinctions have happened till now. Now whatever the extinction it is happening, that we have to describe it as sixth extinction. And in this sixth extinction, the current rate of extinction is 1000 to 10,000 times higher than the natural extinction. That means see how intensifiedly it is going on. Now if the same current rate of extinction, if it continues, earth it loses 50% of the species by the end of 21st century. That means by the end of this century, 50% of the species we can't be able to see if the same rate of extinction, if it continues. So that is called as a sixth extinction. But to explain this, I brought 2-3 examples. Let us go for the examples of the sixth extinction. Now the World Conservation Monitoring Center, it recorded 533 animal species, in that mostly vertebrates, 384 plant species, mostly flowering plants. These extincted from the year 1600. That means since the year 1600 till now, we lost this many number of animals and this many number of plants. And mostly the organisms which are present in the island, they are getting extincted than the organisms which are present in the midland or oceans. Now from 10 high diversity localities in a tropical forest covering 3 lakh kilometers square, in that 17,000 endemic plant species. Students, hope you know what is endemic. Endemic means the organisms which are restricted to the specific area. That means they are surviving only in that area. Rest of any of the part of the world, you can't be able to see that particular organisms. Then that type of organisms are called as endemic. That means organisms restricted to one place only, then that only is called as endemic species. So 17,000 endemic plant species and 3 lakh 50,000 endemic animal species, they could be lost in the near future. See how the rate of extinction, you try to imagine these points while I'm explaining now. Try to imagine with the rate of extinction, itna fastly the rate of extinction it is taking place. Array, tropic forest alone, only tropic forests alone are losing roughly 14,000 to 40,000 species per year. That means now I think you got a clear picture of rate of extinction. Now you change this equation of years into hours equation. That means every 1 hour we are losing 2 to 5 species. That means by the time you finish this class, now you are listening to my class now, by the time you are finishing my class, there are no 2 species, existing species are lost. There is no existence of 2 species in this world. That means we are killing 2 species indirectly, unknowingly, without our knowledge. We are killing them due to our indiscriminate activities. So that is a rate of extinction. Hope you are getting the sixth extinction clearly. I think so. Now according to IUCN Red List in 2004 documents the extinction of 784 species. How many? 784 species are getting extincted. What are they? 338 vertebrates, 359 invertebrates, and 87 plants. So this many organisms were lost just in 500 years. Just in 500 years, this many were lost. Now, some groups like amphibians are more getting extincted than any other. Now, it is a fact that more than 15,500 species worldwide are facing the threat right now. Right now, this many species are facing the extinction. Just in last 20 years, we lost 27 species. So you can imagine what is sixth extinction. I already clearly told sixth extinction may 1000 to 10,000 times higher than the natural extinction. And if the same rate of extinction, if it continues, 50% of the species won't be no more by the end of 21st century. That is the rate of extinction of sixth extinction. Now, let us take write some examples of recent extinctions. That means very recently, how many organisms we lost. The first example is dodo bird. Hope you know what is dodo bird, because in the last topic I think so I explained this. Dodo bird, due to the colorful feathers, see how colorful, how beautiful this bird is. Due to this colorful feathers, they were lost, because human beings, they used to kill this particular bird and they used to pluck this particular feathers and they used to sell. For just feathers, they killed this dodo birds. Now there is no single dodo bird. And see quaggo, what do you call this animal, and it is right now no more. Reasons apart, whatever the reasons it may be, but it is maybe due to over exploitation or too much hunting, reasons apart, but this organism is no more now. And steelers sea cow, see, it is no more now. And many of the tigers examples also I brought, Caspian and Javan and Bali. So these three subspecies are right now, there is no more existing. So this many species very recently we lost. Okay. Now, presently 12 percentage of birds and 23 percentage of mammals and 32 percentage of amphibians, 31 percentage of the gymnosperms are facing extinction, the threat of extinction in in complete world. Whereas in that, only India alone are facing 459 species are getting threatened. What are they? 86 species of mammals, 70 birds, 25 reptiles, 3 amphibians, 8 fishes, 23 invertebrates, and 244 plants. 244 lungs of this earth planets, they are dying. They are going to die. Sorry, they are not dying, they are going to die. Maybe if we change our mentality, change our discriminating activities, if they change, obviously we can save this many species of from India and this many species of our world. But let us see, hope for the best. Now, susceptibility to extinction, that means what reasons make the organism to extinct. Now, for that, the first reason is large body size. If the organism is having a large body size, it cannot be able to face the natural calamities. Very simple example I'll tell you. One tiger is chasing you, running behind you. Now one thin person is there and one fat person is there. Now one tiger is chasing you. Now who can escape fast? Just I'm leaving to your normal assumption, normal imagination. Who can run fast and who can escape? The chances of escaping kisko zyada hai? Obviously a thin person, because the bulky mass of that particular fat person, cannot be able to move actively. That's why he will be caught by this particular tiger and eaten by him, eaten by this tiger. That means large body size do not favor the adaptivity and also the activeness of the body also. And for this examples also, Bengal tiger, lion, and also elephant. And elephant, sabko pata hai, it is one of the most gigantic organism of this earth planet. And due to this giganticness only, and these many organisms are getting extincted. Now the second reason is feeding at higher trophic levels. Usually, hope you all know what is food chain, because I clearly explained and you took exam also on that. So you must be knowing what is food chain. The primary producers are more in number when you compare to the higher trophic levels, and the organisms which are feeding in the higher trophic levels, the availability of the food is less. That's why they are going to die. And for this example also, see, I brought example of eagle and also this Bengal tiger. And fixed migratory pathways and also fixed habitats. See, some of the birds during unfavorable conditions, they move from one place to another place, and that process it is called as migration. And while they are migrating, if they are following the same route every time, obviously some predator animals, they will come to understand these birds in this particular time, obviously they will migrate in this pathway. Now what happens, while they are passing by that way, they wait and they will capture and they will kill them. So following the fixed migratory pathways, it is dangerous for so many birds. And examples also I brought, see this whooping crane and also blue whales, they maintain the same habitat and same migratory pathways. Okay, now let us take some more what I call reasons. Small population size, that means their number is very very less. That too, their reproductive rate is also very very less, because some organisms, they are like, they reproduce only seasonally. That means in one season only they participate in reproduction, and rest of the seasons it don't even think about that developing the genera. Due to this particular less reproductive rate, if any natural calamity takes place in a non what I call reproductive season, all these organisms will die. So here, one way population size is very less and the reproductive rate is also very less. And obviously, any natural, small natural calamity also will ruin this particular species. The best examples are this panda. See, this panda, and also this blue whale, and narrow range of distribution. See, for this also I brought this woodland caribou. See, you can see this, I'm sorry, caribou. I'm sorry, I'm really very sorry, this is caribou. So this woodland caribou, see, you can see it is restricted to the localized, that means a narrow range of distribution. That means if that particular area may, that localized area may, if any small change, any small what you call natural calamity happens, and that's it, it results in the extinction of all these particular caribous. No single caribou will be left, because they are fixed to that particular area, they can't be able to survive in another areas. That is a problem with them. And some many island species also. So these are the reasons for the extension. Now let us go for one more topic, red list. Red list means this is a catalog of the species taxa that are facing high risk of extinction. That means the organisms which are facing the what I call danger of extinction, that list it is called as a red list. Hope you understood what is the meaning of red list. And who proposed this red list? This International Union for the Conservation of Natural Resources. And this actually I think I made a mistake, conservation of natural resources, and here I kept end. Okay, I'm sorry for this. Now I changed it. Yes, conservation of nature and natural, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Now it is so clear. International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, IUCN. This gave the red list. Actually, the what a releasing of this particular data of red list, it started from the year 1963 onwards. Okay, now every 10 years me it is going to release one red list, sometimes 11 years also. It happened that 11 years may also it sometimes it released the red list, and usually it takes 10 years to 10 years. Okay, now uses of the red list, obviously by the following red list, what is the importance of this particular threatened what I call biodiversity. That means when we lose that particular organism, after losing we will come to know what is the importance of that particular organism, and identification and documentation of endangered species, and providing a global index of decline of this particular diversity. That means how many organisms are decreasing day by day, we can be able to estimate by following this red list. And also can providing, you can be able to provide some what I call distinct areas to stop this particular extension in the name of sanctuaries, wildlife sanctuaries होता है ना, like that. So this particular organisms का population धीरे धीरे it is decreasing, so they will be removed out of that particular area and they will keep in some other area which is very safe for them. So this is the use of the red list. Now according to the red list, this IUCN, of course earlier IUCN it is called as World Conservation Union. Now this World Conservation Union only it is changed, it changed its name, now we are calling it as IUCN. Now it recognized 8 red list categories. What are they? The first one is extinct. Now the next one is extinct in the wild. Now critically endangered, endangered, vulnerable, vulnerable, and near threatened, and this least concern chhod do, because much priority is not given. That's why though 9 are there, I have given 8 only, because less concerned it is given with less priority, less concerned less priority. And data deficit and non-evaluated. So like that, these are the 8 categories of red list species are there. Let us see one after one. Extinct means these organisms are nowhere now. Now all these organisms are dead. A single organism is also not there. Extinct in the wild. What is the meaning of this? Read this name properly. Definitely you will understand what is the meaning of it. Extinct in the wild. That means what happened, their natural habitat is forest, but in the forest they are not safe due to hunting or due to competition, whatever the reason. That's why they were all removed from that particular forest, and they were kept it in sanctuaries. That's why they are no more in this forest now. That's why extinct in the wild. Did you notice it or not? Extinct in the wild. That means their natural habitat may they are not there. They are shifted to the places where they created a kind of similar atmosphere, like sanctuaries, and then they are shifted to that particular place so that they can take personal care of this particular extincting species, so that they can be able to survive. And critically endangered, that means they are facing high risk of extinction. That means just immediately they, that means just in next 5 6 years or 10 years may they are going to extinct, then that is called as critically endangered. And endangered, that means a species of animal or plant which are having serious risk of extinction. Vulnerable means, vulnerable basically they are not like critically endangered or endangered, but dire dire they are entering into endangered or critically endangered, then they are called as vulnerable. So vulnerable, of course I do accept they are not endangered or critical endangered, but if the same situation if continues, definitely they may enter into endangered and critically endangered, then they are called as vulnerable. And the next one is lower risk. Obviously lower risk means right now they are in safe zone, but future may if any problem come, they enters into either vulnerable or endangered or critically endangered. That means edge में है और थोड़ा आगे डिस्टेंशन डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ तो they may enter into this category or this category or this category. And this is also right now there is no problem, but if any small changes happen to, they may enter into this or this. Now data deficit. Data deficit means these are not properly documented, but they are not presently available now, then they are called as a data deficit. And non-evaluated, so obviously non-evaluated means the non-documented species, they comes under non-evaluated. So these are the 8 categories of the extinctions of species given in the red list published by IUCN. Okay, and students, and this is all for your basic understanding. Please don't read all these things, and if you read also, obviously it won't much help you, because see, when I am explaining about red list, it's my duty to tell about that proper data, so I am telling. But don't read all these things. What I told you to read, 100% you focus on that, but what I said, no need, you try to avoid that. Okay, now, threatened species simply represented as T, and a threatened species includes endangered, vulnerable, and also rare. Endangered means immediate danger of extinction. That means very recently, that means maybe 10 years or maybe 15 20 years may they are going to extinct, then that species are called as endangered species. And vulnerable means, see, right now they are like okay, like safe zone mein hai, but if the conditions they continue like this, they enters into endangered zone. Where rare means, see, not at present endangered and vulnerable, but there is a risk due to their less number, because their existence is very less. Because when organisms existence is very less, due to a very small calamity also, the loss of that particular species may takes place. So threatened species is equal to endangered species plus vulnerable species plus rare species. Hope you understood. Now the last topic is, there are certain examples which are showing critically endangered, endangered and vulnerable. So examples are, see, barberries. I'm sorry. This category में I have taken few plants and few animals. See, plants में critically endangered is barberries. See, this is barberries. So it is critically endangered. You understood? If you don't understand, you see this image, and when see, for your understanding only, I kept all these particular images. And endangered, that means in plants may endangered is so bent in kia, understanding it. So this bent in kia, so this is a bent in kia. So this bent in kia is also endangered, and the next one is vulnerable. uh, Cupressus, see, this is cupressus. This is cupressus, it is vulnerable. Like that in animals also. Sus salvinius, see, this is sus salvinius, okay. Whereas Allurus, see, this is Allurus, and also antelope, so this is antelope. So these are critically endangered and also endangered and vulnerable species of plants and also animals. So these are the some of the examples. So with this we completed red list also, and tomorrow we will start another topic, that is conservation of biodiversity, how to save this particular biodiversity, that we are going to read it tomorrow, and that will be our last topic of the biodiversity. Hope you understand today's topic. If you don't understand any single word also, you please WhatsApp me. I will definitely answer you back. Thank you so much.